these jobs pay you rubbish for using your entire bones and your sweat to pack biscuits. I could tell you for free for like the next 1 year I didn't eat biscuits. Right. So, well, let's start from Nigeria. In Nigeria, I got a job after NYC. I was incredibly lucky. I didn't I got a job immediately after NYC, and I was working as a marketing and corporate communication associate at a growing fintech startup company in Ibadan, and I loved the job. It was new to me, but also because I was already working within a line of social media marketing, copywriting, and things like that. So it wasn't such a strange thing. But working in the corporate world definitely was a strange thing for me. Was a new thing for me, and so incorporating that with my skills and working with other people, working with a team, it was why I enjoyed working with people, because you realize that you're not an island of ideas. You need people around you to grow, and I like that. And I probably would have still been there. I would have even grown as a writer, as a marketing associate, as a I would have grown, but I had to leave because why? Because I jackpot. So so that was the job I did. I did that for a year plus, and then I moved to England. Now, moving to England, I had a work permit, which meant that I was on a dependent spouse visa, which meant that I could work. And that was when I started my YouTube channel. And my first job took me months to get. I was applying for marketing jobs, corporate communication jobs. I applied for so many, I got interviews for so many, but as soon as they ask the question of, so are you a citizen? Do you have ILR? Can you? Once I told them I was on a visa, most of them just got discouraged. I I don't know what made it. Well, who thought that it would be easy for people to just come to this country and think you can just get a job? It's not that easy, and I learned that the hard way. And the rejection just kept getting to me, and I was so sad. I kept applying, but I didn't get a job. I needed to work. I was tired of just sitting at home and doing nothing, and then I was regretting, and then I was feeling sad for regretting, because I knew that this was a good opportunity. But then I could not share this with anybody, because who would understand? But that was when I opened this channel. Created this channel, and then I made a video about unemployment, and I'm gonna link it somewhere here. Such a wonderful journey I've been on, and I just talked about my experience, and eventually I just gave up, and I got this first job. I applied for this job as a worker in a factory. Let me go back. So this job, I worked there a total of 4 days. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just so excited to get out of the house to work. I remember that video. I made that video on my first day of work. I was so happy. I went there. So the thing about England is that this England is a small place, so all the towns are connected, compared to Canada, where you have to drive hours before you even go to another town. It is like, Canada is big, England is not. So I just took a bus to the next three towns after where I was living, and I got there excited. I mean, I didn't even do an interview. I applied. Somebody called me and said, "Will I be interested in the job?" I said yes. They said okay. The job pays £9 per hour, and I worked for a shift, 8 hour shift. Am I okay? I said yes, I am okay. And the person gave me an address. She gave me an address and told me to come to the address on so day, and I went, and and then I got there. Well, many people. I mean, I was aware of the job I was going to do. It wasn't like I was blindsided. And then we got there like 2030. She wrote down our names, and then she told us basically what we'll be doing, because this is a factory. She said this is a factory, and you're going to be helping these factory workers to set up the products. That's job. There's no, you don't need special training. You get trained while you're working. That was the good thing about UK, I would say. They don't really care about, they just need people to work. As long as you are open to work, you get a lot of odd jobs. And they're not perfect jobs, but you get jobs that will pay your bills. And if you've lived in UK, if you've lived outside of Nigeria, you know how important it is to pay bills on time. Now in Nigeria, there are some things that help you sort of manage yourself if you're in a particular class, sha. Like if you're middle class, you can still manage not to pay some things and beg people borrow. In UK here, it's not that simple. You're on your own. So if you don't have money and somebody is offering to pay you money just to do work or jobs, you will take the job because you need to pay monthly bills. You or else you'd be homeless essentially. So yes, I took the job. The first day I was like, okay, let's start. And then we got into the factory. Big place, by the way, very neat. It smelled, I would never forget the smell of this factory because it smelled so delicious. It's a biscuit factory. They make biscuits, basically. They make biscuits, cookies, or whatever it is you can call it. Biscuits, sha. They make biscuits in this factory. So my job with many other people is to stack these biscuits in the tray, the plastic tray that goes in the package where you put all those biscuits. Your job is to stack it. The machines do most of the jobs, but sometimes machines don't properly stack them. They miss out on some when it's going through the conveyor belt. So our job is to place those biscuits in there properly and pass it to the next. So everybody's working on different stations. So that was the first place I was assigned to. There was nothing like somebody shadowing you. You just had to go in, clock in, make sure you clock in so that you get paid, and then you go in and then you start stacking. Now the first 1 hour is fine. The only thing is that the place is very noisy because of all these machines working. It is a very noisy place. So working there long time, I would bet that I would have gotten a permanent ear damage because it was very loud. But when you're in the place you're working, you might probably not feel it, but it is a very loud place. But anyway, I was stacking 1 hour to it. I was like, oh, this is okay. Maybe it's just to stack. I was watching videos of people online who have said they've done odd jobs like this and it's better than not getting any money at all. I was like, let me just do this. And then second hour, third hour, of course you get breaks. It's not like you work, you get breaks because these countries here, they you shall get breaks, lunch breaks, 15 minutes breaks, smoke break or whatever. You get breaks, but my legs were killing me. Oh my god, stacking is not an issue, but the fact that you have to stand for hours with no seats, you don't get a chair to sit on. That's the painful part of this job. I remember when I got home the first day, I was so tired because I had to take buses upon buses to get to the place, and which means that when I'm going back home, I would take buses again to get to my house. I was so tired, but I felt excited because I just felt like I was contributing money. I was just sitting down at home and not doing anything. Someone that's been working full time, then just had to stop. No, it was awful. The second day, that was when I knew that I cannot do this job. I cannot stand. My legs were killing me. I was so tired. Thankfully, they moved me to another station because we were too many there. So they moved us to another station. This station, you have to pack all the packaged biscuits into into the boxes for the people who handle the forklift to take them to the next site or whatever. But I want to pack the biscuits into the boxes in a very fast way because the conveyor belt waits for nobody. So you have to like actively pack. You see how people were walking. I was like, my god, I cannot do this. Eh? I was packing, I was doing all but my back was killing me. These jobs pay you rubbish for using your entire bones and your sweat to pack biscuits. I could tell you for free for like the next 1 year I didn't eat biscuits. I was so angry. Anytime I saw biscuits on stores like this, because I saw those particular biscuits at the stores, and I would just look and I would feel like throwing up. That was how much the smell got into my brain and the trauma of working there. Yes, I would call it trauma. I was so traumatized. I did this for 3 days. The third day I got home, and then I missed my bus again, so I had to pay extra for Uber to get me home. Money that I didn't have. I was like, when I got home, I was just like crying. And my mom was like, you want to stop? You're the one that said you want to walk. I said, I'm not going again. But the thing is, I've never just quit a job. I've never just said, me Oshemo. And it made me feel so bad to just say that I wasn't going to clock in. The next day, I just sent a message to the woman that I wasn't going to show up again. She did not even say, come back now. What happened? She did not even. She just said, all right, love, no problem. Goodbye. We'll send you your money that the number of the hours you've worked. You will get the pay in the next 2 weeks. I was so tired. I was like, I'm never doing this job. There's no way I'm doing this job. That was my first job. It was so traumatic, but I survived 3 days. The fourth day, I was like, I'm not going back there. Well, anyway, so that was my first job. Now, moving on to the second one. After that, I started to apply for care jobs because reality sets in like, yo, probably because you don't have education, you don't have a UK education, you don't have UK experience, you don't have the right visa, you might not get the job you really, really want. So, but for now, we need to pay bills, we need to take care of ourselves, we need to eat. So, I just thought, let me just do a care job. And I applied. I didn't even think anybody, at this point, I had given up. I was going for this interview at this marketing job I was really excited for. But then I got there and this person was telling me that so this job is that you use a door to door marketing job where you knock at doors and ask people to donate money for charity for cancer, or they could gamble the money and get. I was like, eh? I came all the way from my town to this place for you to tell me that I should be working and knocking door to door. Guess the worst part of this, I won't get paid unless the person actually donates money. So you work by commission. I was like, what the hell? I was so angry. I was like, no, I'm not doing this job because number one, I'm not even good with talking to people face to face. Uh, Then people will just slam the door at you. And no, there is no way I'm doing that. But anyway, that was during that process I found this job. I applied for it and they called me back. And luckily it was within the town I was living at. I was so happy for that. I literally walked to the place to do my interview. And I didn't know much about the job. I've never done a care job. That was my first introduction to it. But I did, and I asked, I mean, I went to school, so all the questions they were asking me, I answered them, and luckily I got the job. And it was for a night support worker, so which meant that I wasn't working during the day, but I was going to get orientation for day and nights just to get a feel of the residents and the clients so that I will know how they are and I'll be able to spot check and know how to deal with them. So I started the job. The pay was $10, £10 per hour. I was like, okay, £10 on some pence. I can't remember, but it's £10, maybe £11, £10, and that was the job. And I got to work 4 days a week for the first week, and then 3 days a week for the second week, and I get the rest of the days off because I chose a part time. I would explain why I chose a part time. This video is going to be long. Oh my god, I didn't. I'm doing speed through it. But anyway, I started this job. The first day I got to the job, I was so nervous, but I got the job. My husband, who has had a few experiences working as a domiciliary care worker, he explained how it is to me. So I had few ideas about it, but not much, because you need to experience some things before you understand what the hell they're talking about. I got there and I met wonderful staff. I met the residents in the first house I worked at, and I remember going there and feeling so scared because I'd never seen people like this before. People who were who who needed care. They couldn't live on their own. They needed support, and that was why we were there. And that I felt so humbled. Like I felt incredibly humbled, and I was so terrified because I there were people who had behavioral issues. They were not like chatty people. They were not always nice. But and then I got there, I saw people who were working there, and then I got shadowed. They explained their routine. They went on a walk with them, and then that was the first time I would see somebody naked. People who've worked in hospitals or people who worked in healthcare, you understand that you need to clean people up. That was the first time I would clean somebody up. That was the first time I would an adult, sha. I mean, probably I've cleaned my baby brother when he was, but like an adult, you clean an adult because they can't do it by themselves for one reason or the other. You give them a bath. You sometimes feed them. That was the first time I would do that job, and I remember feeling so scared the first day, feeling so nervous. But I had a good person to shadow. She was very nice to me, and she explained that this is their life. It is a job that requires your sometimes a lot from you, but just do the best that you can do and make sure you're not breaking any rules, because sometimes these people are going to be mean to you, they're going to yell at you, which happened very often, but at that time I was already used to it. But I remember the feeling of I was so scared the first day, but my first day was so much better than I thought it would, because I was not nervous, and there's so many behaviors that I saw. I'm not able to share much now, but so many behaviors that I saw, people banging their head, self harming. They call it self harming here, where you sometimes slit your throat, or you bang your head against the wall, or you mention suicidal ideation, things like that. That was the first time I would be in that kind of setting, and it terrified me. But thankfully, this job provides you with training, not just practical training, but you have to go through courses to understand the kind of job that you are doing, and so you're not put into deep end. You are not usually alone. Somebody is always there with you, and if you need help, there's always somebody on call to just call and tell them that, hey, something is going on. And I did that job for the entire time I was in UK, plus another job. So I did that as a part-time job during the night, and I did another job during the day. Most of my videos from UK, you guys will see all these things. The job I did during the day, I applied for it. I wrote a really convincing cover letter, and I spoke about how I was really interested in the job because it was somehow close to what I was doing in Nigeria. I was an employment advisor for people who have been out of jobs for so long and are seeking to going back into the job market, and they need help, you know, with their image. So helping them with writing CVs, resumes, writing cover letters, providing clothes for them if they need clothes for interviews, providing them with money, transport money, providing them with shuttles if they need rides to wherever it is they're going, providing them with food, things like that. These are community based job, and I enjoy that job so much. If it was a way I could have stayed there, I would have loved that job, because it was one of those, you worked with people within the community, you worked with people who need help, basically. So it was a wonderful job, but it was a part-time job, but they were not willing to sponsor my visa. So I just thought, you know what, it's and besides, we're thinking of coming to Canada anyway. So with the money I made from my night job, so I would go to night, sleep a little bit, go to my day job, come back home, sleep, like that. Days off, sleep. Not that was, I was all my time in UK. I worked throughout. I worked. I was just doing YouTube on the side just so that I wouldn't go crazy. But it was a really stressful time for me. But all the money that I got, I saved a lot of money. My husband also saved a lot of money, and we were able to fund our way here to Canada. So it was a wonderful experience, because when I now got to Canada and I was working, my first job when I was studying in Ontario was also a care job. I was already familiar with it because I've done it before, but this one was both day and night. I don't think Canada just offers you a permanent night time. It depends, sure. But where I was working was a part time support worker, and it was something within the line of what I've done before. So you take care of people who need help, people who are mentally going through mental issues, going through physical issues, or not just able to take care of themselves. And I did that job in Ontario, London, Ontario, while I was studying. And yeah, and then I moved to Saskatchewan to study CCA. That's when I applied for my course to study CCA, because I knew that my first course probably wouldn't get me a lot of job offers, because it's such a generic course. It's project management, and yes, it's possible to get a job with project management, but it is not that straightforward, and you don't really have time as an immigrant to be cherry picking. You don't have time, so you need to focus on skilled jobs that Canada is offering, and project management is not really one of those. It's not one of those jobs. So I decided to go for a care job instead, and I chose Saskatchewan because they were the one that offered me an admission, and I moved to Saskatchewan. That was when I was pregnant, so I moved to Saskatchewan, and I didn't work throughout that time. And then I finished school, and immediately I finished school, I got a casual position as a care worker, and now I've gotten a permanent full time job as a care worker in the hospital. So that's my story. And I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. Will I still remain in this healthcare line? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I honestly cannot tell you. But I would say that I've gotten so much better at cleaning people up. Yes, I've gotten so much better at it. There's so many things that don't irritate me that much anymore. I mean, when you've seen things over and over again, you get desensitized to it, I guess. And I've worked long hours. Like, you get care workers, you get 12 hour shifts, 8 hour shifts, 4 hour shifts, 7 hour shifts. You work a long stretch of hours, so it takes a toll on your body, because you are carrying people, you are lifting people up, you are walking people. It's a physical job, which means that you need all the help you get, and you need all the help you can get, and you need to take care of yourself mentally as well, because taking care of other people is a lot of job. Even though you are not related to them, taking care of people, it is a lot of job. And that's it. That's my story. So tell me about your own experience working, since you left Nigeria, all the jobs you've done. I just want to hear. I'm always very interested. I'm always very fascinated about all the jobs people have done since they left Nigeria, how different it is to the life they've lived in Nigeria, and then leaving their home country and coming here to work odd jobs just to make ends meet, and combining it with school, combining it with family time, combining it with their regular lives, and finding ways to separate it so that you're not always consumed by just going to going to make money, paying bills, and not like trying to live a good quality a good hey. But you know what I mean, trying not to get let work be your entire life, and just trying to have a good life. Just let me know in the comment section all the odd jobs you've done, and which part of this video made you really laugh. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.